It is a big mission for the VAB with respect to the differentiation between premium and non-premium advertising. I mean, a lot is going to be won or lost based on marketers who are going to utilize real, truly premium video. When we were talking about that, and our membership spends $120 billion a year on original content, and it's essentially to build commerce. It's to make marketers have the ability to hit their goals, their sales goals, their brand goals. But when we think about what is worth it, what is truly premium video in the marketplace that's going to affect consumer behavior, it's got some non-negotiable attributes. All right, it's professionally produced, it's long form, there's high emotional involvement from the target audiences, from the consumers. We say that it's essentially the entity that turns it turns consumers into customers. Ultimately, is what it does. The other thing is that it's brand safe on any platform, on any device, and it's 100% transparent. So that linkage, that DNA, to us is what's truly premium. Now, what that does in terms of why it's worth it and why it's on the top of the food chain is it builds traffic like no other medium, right? That ultimately is how you define something that's truly premium. It's going to fill sales channels, it's going to fill online queues, and it's going to hit your brand goals and your traffic goals.
And in terms of the problem itself, is it a matter of overcharging, advertisers being overcharged for the ads? Is it a matter of, does it hurt media companies, sellers, publishers, as well as advertisers?
Well, I think that there's an awful lot of non-premium sellers out there, meaning that it's short form, it's UGC, there isn't a lot of consumer engagement to it, and they're sort of in the algorithmic end run business, and where content to them is neutral. They hunger to put premium, as the prefix on every video form that they sell. In other words, to try to have it be lumped with higher price inventory. And what we need to do is to understand as a marketplace, where do you divide the gem? Where do you draw the line as to what's worth it? And I think that deciding as an industry what the caveats and what the tenets are of things, of something that's truly premium versus the 15 other video forms that have slapped the word premium in front of them, is going to be incredibly important with respect to a marketer's understanding of how to triage the marketplace.
A part of the mission of laying the groundwork for the value, the true value of premium ad video, is that it drives big spikes in Google search. What's the connection there?
We had been looking for some hard metrics, because we have been looking, and every year we look at, the 300 newest advertisers to multi-screen TV, premium video, and we had traditionally taken a look at, what their spikes were when we looked at their individual, websites. For example, of the 931 most recent new advertisers to TV from for 21 through 24. 83 of them, for example, are DTCs, and you immediately see huge surges in web traffic. We wondered, what happened with Google search, and we took a look and we analyzed inside of those 930 new advertisers and found out that 90% of the times our analysis yielded, between a 60 and 75% immediate spike within the 10 days of campaign launch of Google search. And anyone has the ability, they're publicly available tools to be able to go in and take a look at what happens with search history. So to us, that is a tremendous proxy for mid-funnel, for traffic building, for where you go from simply having attention to now you have action. And we've been using it quite a bit. We used it recently in the Super Bowl too, and what was really interesting there, and so if we've got great results in Google search through, looking at 900 some odd new advertisers, and then we go to what's clearly a high attention event where people are looking at the commercials sometimes as much as they are the content, there's some predictability, you would think, to the fact that you'd get some spikes on Google search. And for some, it's a brand new product. It's a new DTC, it's a new remedy, it's a new cruise line. You would think it lends itself to search, and we saw it. But what we saw was every brand we looked at had, immediate jumps from 10-fold to 50-fold in terms of their search activity instantaneously after the ad running. And this is also for ads that had absolutely, if you will, no search impetus. They were for mature brands that were well understood, that didn't have any, that didn't have any drive to search or drive to web. I mean, when we looked at the surges in Google search for brands like Michelob Ultra, for Pringles, for what were, long, well-established, almost, just staple brands in advertising, the behavior, though, was there. It was like a genetic predisposition to be to screening and to go immediately to search based on, the input of what's an involving, experience with respect to the commercial. So that we're going to pick apart a little more.
So getting back to the idea of stressing the importance of premium within the context of also focusing on the mid-funnel, the idea that premium used to be just associated with awareness and affinity, these softer metrics, as opposed to performance metrics like traffic and search. Does this require a redefinition or rethinking of what premium means from an advertiser perspective?
I think it's a matter of proving the obvious, and we've known from marketers forever that when you spend time with marketers that are retail marketers, whether they are, they're in automotive, they're in QSR, they're, in retail, they're in DTC, their knowledge, they've got their own analytics and metrics that let them know that this is a key instrument. Our job is, if you will, to prove the obvious that this always happens, and that, right now, the ability to show that immediate cause and effect to such a dramatic degree, and to have it happen 90% of the time, and to have the surges be, 60 to 75%. As we play that out in the more instruments we look at, if that becomes a standard, well, then we are having the clear demonstration on tools that are available to both buyers and sellers that they can replicate that this is the primary traffic building instrument. And so with respect to having always had, the great credit for quote unquote building awareness, and knowing that we were a key part of conversion, being able to show the traffic building path, again, where you take consumers and turn them into customers en masse instantaneously, that's what we do incredibly well. And right now, there's probably too much credit given to other entities who are claiming that traffic as something they produced.
So does that call into question the need for better transparency? Does it mean that there's a lack of transparency still, even at this late stage in online advertising generally?
Well, there is, obviously, and that's one of the things that, again, genetically, it's a medium that's always had transparency. It's just how we've always done business. And the ability to go, and what we tell marketers is that they have a Bill of Rights, right? And a 2025 marketer has an assumptive Bill of Rights where they should understand, to the most granular degree, the entire life cycle of every impression. That should be made plain to them. They should understand how all of that stuff is calculated. Those calculations need to be 100% transparent to them. And the granular details as to the laydown, if you will, the deployment, where every impression is known, discoverable to its most finite location, is part of that. And verification through a third party that these things are the case. That's among the Bill of Rights, because we're in a period of time right now where if you go in and look at what is other for some of the behemoths, if you look at the 10Ks of a couple of the behemoths in terms of where a lot of the marketing dollars globally have gone over the last 10 years, their other is the size of entire mediums. So why marketers are tolerating a column called other that, for example, is the same size of all global print advertising combined, is the same size of other, an undefined platform inside of one of their main relationships. That's untenable. It's intolerable. And that's not something that ever experienced inside of truly premium video, multi-screen TV. it is the marketer's, inherent right to have the transparency that is going to give them the confidence that every one of those ad dollars is being productive as possible and genuinely building traffic.